Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to give you 7 Beast Mode Middle Eastern fragrances that I think you should know about. So let's jump right into it. All right, so today we are talking Beast Mode fragrances from Middle Eastern houses, and who doesn't like a good Beast Mode fragrance? We are all looking for a good performing fragrance. Longevity, projection, sillage, that's what we all want. We want some Beast Mode fragrances. And so you've come to the right spot, because I've got 7 Beast Mode fragrances for you, 5 different Middle Eastern houses. Links are gonna be all down in the description if you decide you wanna check any of these out. So let's just jump right into it. All right, so first up on the list, we have one from the House of Lattafa, and this might be one of my favorites from the house. It's Ragba Wood Intense. Now you can pick this bad boy up for about $25 at discounters, and I've already done a full review of this fragrance, so I'll leave a link down in the description if you decide you want to check out the full review on this, and I suggest you check it out because this is one of my favorite fragrances, like I just said. Anytime I walk by my shelf and this just kind of peeks out at me, I have to get a whiff of it because I absolutely love the scent profile in this. It's caramel, it's sugar, it's woods, it's incense, some vanilla, some amber mixed in there, and it's absolutely delicious. It's like sitting by a campfire, roasting marshmallows on a nice, like, crisp fall sort of evening. Absolutely delicious. Rich, dark, smoky, absolutely gorgeous fragrance, and the projection longevity on this is absolutely beast mode. 10 plus hours, not a problem off my skin. Get some on my clothes and it's gonna smell like I was sitting by a campfire all night. You know when you go home after a weekend of camping and it's like 2 or 3 days later and you pull your shirt out? That's what I get from this. It's just like 2 or 3 days later, if I sprayed it on my shirt, I still smell this one. And I absolutely love it. The projection on this are pretty good. It pushes out 2-3 hours, not a problem, and it goes way beyond an arm's length before it settles in, but still it has a nice big scent bubble for the duration of this fragrance. Absolutely gorgeous, beast mode performer. I think you should be checking it out. It's Ragba Wood Intense. All right, next up, we got one from the House of Afnan, and it's Afnan Supremacy in Oud. Now you can pick this bad boy up for about $43 at various discounters. It is an extrait de parfum concentration, and it is an absolute room filler beast mode of a fragrance, and it's just an amazing scent profile on this. It's very bold, smooth, a touch of sweetness to it, a little bit of earthiness and woodiness to it. Absolutely a gorgeous fragrance. It's got this warm, spicy opening with some saffron, some nutmeg, and a little bit of freshness to it with some lavender. And then this oud and sweet notes kind of mixed together to just form this delicious, sweet, sort of woody, earthy style of oud, and a little bit of musk and patchouli at the base to kind of add to that earthiness. But that sweetness just kind of just sings throughout this. Is just the perfect level of sweetness to this, enough woodiness to it, earthiness to it, and that warm spice just makes this an absolutely gorgeous fragrance. If you're not really into oud fragrances, this might not be your jam, but if you're kind of like, don't mind them too much, this is not a very aggressive style of oud. It's definitely there, but it's not very aggressive, and that sweetness, that smoothness that comes through with this, it's just a really nice quality fragrance, very well blended, and I absolutely enjoy it. Beast mode performer. This is a room filler for sure. You have to take it easy on the sprays. This will last you 10-12 hours, no problem off your skin. Again, you get some on your clothes and you're gonna have to wash your shirt before you stop smelling it on your clothes. Projection in the first like 3 hours is nuclear. It just goes way beyond an arm's length for that. You have to be careful with the sprays. Like if you go more than 5, it's gonna be pushing out loud and proud, and so depending on where you're going, you better just take my word for it. Just don't go too crazy on the sprays if you're gonna be going out in public and smashing people with your sweet oud. So monster performer, beautiful scent profile. For the $43 you're gonna pay for this, absolutely worth every single penny. I think you should check it out. That's Afnan Supremacy in Oud. All right, next up we got one from the House of Al Haramain, and it's Al Haramain's Detour Noir. Now you can scoop this one up for about $25 at various discounters, and this one probably needs no introduction because this has been a bit of a darling of the fragrance community for the past year or so, I would say, and for good reason, because this is an absolutely beautiful gourmand style of fragrance. It opens up with this really bright, sweet style of green apple, mixed with a little bit of cardamom spice, some like fresh lavender, and then what you really get, and what is the main player of this fragrance, is this vanilla note that comes through, and it's just absolutely delicious, gourmand, sweet, syrupy, thick style of fragrance, and I absolutely love it. The opening on this is a little bit weird. It does take a minute or two for this to kind of settle down and for the notes to kind of jive and decide that they want to make a really nice fragrance. But once they do, and once this dries down, the vanilla in this is absolutely gorgeous. I love the scent profile on this. Very sweet, very rich, very syrupy kind of thickness to it. So if you're into that style of fragrance, you're really going to enjoy this. Performance on this is absolutely fantastic. 8 to 10 hours of longevity off my skin, not a problem. And the projection is monstrous for the first couple of hours. This really pushes off my skin. I can almost feel this like pulsing off my skin when I first put this on. Absolutely amazing performance on this. Really enjoy the scent profile on this, and for $25, it's absolutely worth it. You just have to get past the bottle, because the bottle really stinks. It's a terrible bottle, everyone knows that. $25, amazing scent profile, beast mode performance. I still think you should check it out. That's Almar Harmain's Detour Noir. All right, so next up, we're going back to the house of Lattafa, and it's one you probably haven't heard of. It's Lattafa's Halta blend of Lattafa. Now, when you can find this one, it is at $25 at discounters. Again, I'll have links down in the description to where you can find this. This one's a little tricky to find because like no one's really talked about this one. I had never heard about this one. It was not on my radar. But when I picked it up and I tried it out for the first time, I realized how unique, interesting, almost challenging of a fragrance this is. This opens up with a very, very spicy style of rose with like leather, some saffron, and this silky, smooth, almost elegant style of rose that's mixed with that spiciness. So it's a very unique style of rose. As this kind of opens up, it gets a little bit of sweetness from some vanilla coming through, like a little bit of lavender comes through, but it gets this kind of booziness that comes through in the mid that's almost too challenging for me, but it does settle down fairly quickly after you get through that booziness, and it settles into this powdery, ambery, spicy rose, a little bit of leatheriness to it. That's very unique, very interesting, and the more I wear this, the more that scent profile grows on me. It's almost a very artistic style of fragrance to me. Performance on this is monstrous. 8 to 10 hours of longevity, no problem, but the projection on this is huge. This is a room-filling fragrance, no problem. 2-3 sprays did me just fine. If you're a heavy sprayer that likes to go 5-7, you're gonna be blasting spicy rose all up in people's business. So forewarned, if you do decide to check this one out, take it easy on the sprays until you can kind of adjust everyone's expectation of how much spicy rose they're gonna get up in their face, because this will blast off for the first 3-4 hours, not a problem, of some very spicy yet very silky smooth style of rose. Awesome performance on this, very unique, artistic, interesting, somewhat challenging style of rose fragrance. If you're into rose fragrances, I think you might want to check this out. If you're not, then don't, but if you are, check it out. It's Lattafa's Halta blend of Lattafa. All right, up next, we're going to the house of Armaf, and it's Armaf Craze. This fragrance is awesome. I love this fragrance. It's very fun, flirty, playful. I gotta get some in the air and smell this one. I love this fragrance. One of my favorites from the Armaf house. It's got this almond, vanilla, heliotrope scent accord that goes through. That's the main players in this. It does have a little bit of freshness, a little bit of woodiness in it that's kind of mixed in the notes. But what you're really getting is the vanilla, that bitter almond mixed with that heliotrope. Very sweet style of fragrance. This is apparently a clone of Parfums de Marly's Pegasus, and apparently a fairly good clone. I cannot confirm nor deny because I do not own Pegasus. But if you are familiar, that's the scent accord with this. I absolutely it's so sweet and delicious. Just smelling it in the air right now just makes me happy. I love this fragrance, and the performance on this is absolutely nuclear. Like 12 plus hours, I kind of lost count at that point. I think I had to go to bed at that point. I just lost count of how strong this is. Off my skin, projection, first 3-4 hours, pushes way off, so you do have to be easy on the sprays here. This can get a little bit cloying if you overdo it because of that kind of sweetness to it, that little bit of kind of bitterness from that almond. Too many sprays will be too much for too many people, so just be careful, but just the right amount. It's just a beautiful scent accord, amazing performance, and you can pick this up for like $22, $25 at various discounters. I think you should be checking it out if you haven't already. That's Armaf's Craze. All right, next up, we're going back to the house of Afnan, and it's Afnan's Marseille of Trust. So you can pick this up for about $25 at discounters, and this is actually a fairly new acquisition to my collection. I've had this for about 3 weeks, and I've had a chance to wear this a handful of times, and let me tell you, I am pleasantly surprised with this fragrance, both with its scent accord as well as its beast mode performance on this one. This one is a very leather forward fragrance. This one has some saffron, some vetiver, some ambroxan, some raspberry that's mixed in there, some cashmere woods, and a little bit of earthiness, a little bit more woodiness to it. And it's a very interesting style of leather. It's not a challenging leather style fragrance. It has that kind of classy sort of leather vibe to it. So it's got that kind of like new leather shoe, new leather belt, new leather wallet sort of kind of vibe to it. It's more of kind of a James Bond in a leather jacket versus a cowboy in a leather jacket, if that makes any sort of sense to you. That's the kind of leather vibe you get from this. It's not that kind of animalic, kind of rugged sort of leather. It's a very classy, formal style of leather. The raspberry in this does add a little bit of fruity sweetness, same with that Ambroxan, but it's not a very sweet style of leather. That does kind of sit in the background. It is kind of a more leather forward fragrance with a little bit of smokiness to it, a little bit of resinous to it, and it has a really nice earthy, woody style of base to it. Really awesome scent profile on this, and the performance on this is beast mode. 10-12 hours off my skin, no problem. On my clothes, I'm gonna have to wash my shirt. It's fantastic longevity. Projection on this is good. It's not like blasting out a room necessarily. I mean, if I went crazy with the sprays, sure. But like an average amount of sprays, it is good projection for the first 2-3 hours. It does push out, and then it does settle in a little bit closer. But where the real beast mode here is with that longevity. This just sticks around, it stays around. You're gonna have a classy leather smell to you all day long, and for $25, I think it's absolutely worth it. That's Afnan's Marseille of Truth. So last, but certainly not least, we got one from the Paris Corner line, and it's Paris Corner Killer Oud. Now you can pick this one up for about $25 at various discounters, and let me tell you, this is quickly becoming one of my new favorite fragrances that I have in my collection. I absolutely love how this one kind of opens and unfolds and dries down. Very bold, very unique, and very versatile across a variety of different seasons and occasions. It has some bergamot, some oregano, some allspice, some incense, leather, this apopanax, and this kind of wood notes, and some patchouli that's in this. It's just a beautiful combination of fresh, spicy, with some incense, with some like sweet balsamicness to it that has this like kind of resin vibe that goes on, and this leather note that kind of comes through, and this all kind of mixes together and blends together so well to just create, like I said, a very bold, unique, and versatile fragrance that I absolutely enjoy. And the performance on this is beast mode. I'm really surprised how this performs. 10-12 hours off my skin, no problem, and the first 2-3 hours this projects out really far beyond an arm's length before it does settle back in. Fantastic performance. Awesome scent profile. I can't get enough of it. $25, definitely worth checking it out. Paris Corner is quickly becoming something I'm getting very, very interested in. I want to check out more of their fragrances. So if you have any recommendations, you can comment down below. I think you should be checking this one out though. It's Paris Corner's Killer Oud. So there you have it. That's 7 beast mode fragrances from Middle Eastern houses that I think you should know about. Let me know what I should know about. What are some beast mode fragrances from Middle Eastern houses that you guys enjoy? Comment down below. I love hearing your guys' recommendations. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.